But we got to go back and talk about Mars now.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
so,
we're gonna go all the way back. Talk about skeletons
dude,
on Mars.
The
Puck
thing you
wedgies on
find-
Mars.
The fact that they found Puckwudgies on Mars is just incredible. to me.
Insane. Puckwudgie. What a fun word to say.
Tell me about Mars, Jeremy. I've
So-
been dying to know.
What do y'all know about Mars?
I know that he's the Greek god of war.
Huh?
Correct.
I know that it's red. I know that is our next place to live in the solar system. I know.
Not the Greek though, the Roman.
Oh, Roman god. Well, good thing I only.
Romans are the planet names.
Oh, well,
like-
good thing I
like
only
Jupiter.
believe in God, the one that created
You know,
Mars.
you know who Jupiter is.
Jesus Christ.
You know who Jupiter is, right?
Basically like the king.
It's Zeus.
Zeus, yeah.
I don't remember Mars. Aries. No, is it Aries? I think Aries.
Aries.
I think is the
Aaron, Ease.
Aries and Mars. I think. Anyway, that's
Not
no,
important.
No, we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk
Planet.
about the planet,
Planet.
or actually the moon.
Or actually, the plasmoids.
We're not gonna talk about the plasmoids. That's done.
No, sorry.
So
Yes, sir.
Mars is very strange. There's a lot about it that's weird. It's too small for where it is.
Says who?
Says me. Did you not just hear me? Too small.
Wow.
Want to fight about it?
Well,
Yeah.
give it some pizza and hamburgers and donuts.
It's
and
too
it'll be
small.
bigger.
Dirty
For-
bulk.
It's too small for its orbital position. So basically, the way it's orbiting, it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be there naturally.
It should be like where towards Venus.
Yep.
Like it should be taking our place, and we should.
Its
be at their
density
place.
is much lower than you would expect. Its orbit is much more elliptical than what you would expect it to be. There's no magnetic field, despite signs of one in the past. And it has a lot of features on it that you would find on moons more than you would find on planets.
Explain.
We'll get to that
Okay.
in a little bit.
Sorry.
I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it now.
Yes, sir.
This is something I completely did not know. I actually learned this today or when I was going over this. But apparently Mars is like almost like two different entities smashed together. The northern hemisphere,
Two different.
like two different bodies of something that
Two different planets smashed together.
maybe planets. Two different something. Because the northern hemisphere is very smooth, low elevation, there's not a lot going on. There's not really any mountains too much. There's a little bit, but not much. There's almost no craters. It's weird. And kind of feels like an ocean basin.
Okay.
Then it's almost like a perfect line. And then you get to the southern hemisphere and now tons of craters, tons of mountains, huge mountains.
Is that where the tallest mountain in the solar system is?
Yes.
On that side?
Yes, which is bizarre that it's on Mars of all planets because
Yeah.
the size of it doesn't make any sense. But it's like the crust is 20 miles thicker on the southern side. I don't know why you think that's funny. Thick with CK, not thick with two C's, Andrew.
No, you said the way you said you spoke with a lisp there.
Did I?
Yeah. 20 miles thicker on the southern side.
I didn't. I'm going to have to listen to that in editing. I'm going to re-say that. The crust is 20 miles thicker on the southern side than the northern, which is a lot.
That is odd.
And the southern side, when they date it, it's billions of years older.
Technically. Supposedly. So it's almost like you said there's an ocean on the southern side. Northern side. And then let's say a giant asteroid hit the northern side, pushed all kinds of material towards the southern side, washed it all up, built it up, deposited it and then that's where the ocean evaporated after that. But there's no crater. So
So this is one of the biggest things that's like moon-like for it compared to a planet is that there's two bulges that are 180 degrees apart from each other. That's the two of the big mountains.
okay.
There's Tharsis and then there's Arabia Terra. Again, they're almost exactly 180 degrees apart. And that is typical on moons that are tidal locked, meaning like our moon is tidal locked where its rotation is in orbit is set where we're always facing the same side of the moon. And so like Europa on for Jupiter is the same. It's tidal locked. Like all of those
Gravitational pull towards there is creating the
bulges. Yeah. And then that happens on the other side too. So it's very common to see that on moons. It's not common to see that on planets. So it's very strange.
What you're saying is Mars. I think I heard about this.
What? That is a weird planet, or that's weird?
No, that yes. Well, no. That there was another planet within our solar system and it exploded, and that's why we have the meteor belt.
Yep, that's where we're gonna go.
Okay.
It also has the Valles Marineris, which is that big trench.
Marianas Trench.
That is much deeper than the Grand Canyon. Like it dwarfs the Grand Canyon.
It has the biggest mountain in the solar system, and it also has the biggest canyon.
I don't know if it's the biggest canyon, but it's bigger than our canyons.
Well, is it bigger than the Mariana Trench?
Well, if you want to, while you're doing that, VALLES,
Yes.
and then MAR, and then it'll probably autofill from there.
MAR.
You can see how deep it is. I don't remember. I know that they compared it to the Grand Canyon.
2,500 miles long.
Yep.
120 miles wide, and up to 4 miles deep.
Yep. There you go. So massive.
Crazy.
So keep these oddities of Mars in the back of your head, because we're going to go through a little bit of history. I'm going to try to go through this quickly. In the 1700s, Johann Titius or something, I don't know how to pronounce it. He was an astronomer, and he was just doing observations and running some math, and he noticed that there was a pattern with the distance of planets, which back then I think we only knew of 5. And basically his pattern was you starting with Mercury. Mercury is 0.4 AUs from the sun, astronomic units, which is an AU is the distance of the sun to Earth. Earth is 1 AU from the sun. So Mercury starts at 0.4. Starting from Mercury, the distance for every single planet thereafter is 0.3 AUs times however many planets it is. So, for example, again, Mercury is 0, so it's starting point, so it's 0.4. It doesn't add anything. Venus is the first planet, so it's plus 0.3, so it's 0.7 AUs away, which is correct. Then you have Earth, which is the second planet, so it's plus 0.3 plus 0.3, which is 1. So it'd be 0.4 plus 0.3 plus 0.3. Then Mars is the next one, so it'd be 0.9, which is roughly at, and basically you just keep going. And
I'm sorry. Grand Canyon is also a mile deep, 277 miles long. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Every planet matched to this, except between Mars and Jupiter, there was a gap. So basically, Mars was where you would expect for planet 4. Where you would expect a planet 5, there's nothing, but where you would expect a planet 6 is Jupiter. So it's like there's a missing gap.
So maybe a collision.
And then later, they discover, further planets, and those planets still match with his law, roughly. It's not like perfect, because his thing is a rough estimate anyway. but like even further planets. So to the
Yeah.
point to where they're like, yeah, okay, they called this. They actually hit Bode published it later with him. I don't think it was with him. He did it, but he knew about it and he studied it and published it. And so it became called the Titius-Bode law, that they're like, this is how planets distance. So it's accurate and works, yet no one can explain,
Mars.
especially at this time. No one explained, not Mars, the missing gap between.
Okay.
We're not talking about Mars for now.
Okay,
We'll get back to Mars.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's in 1781, which is almost a decade after this was published, which is even more since the guy discovered it. They find Uranus, and it's accurate to what the predictions were. So at that point, they're like, okay, yeah, there's something to this pattern, and then they legitimize it, which gets them interested in, okay, well then let's see if we can find something in this zone where something's missing. And in 1801, they find Sirius, which is an asteroid. At the time, they didn't know it was an asteroid, but they find Sirius, and they're like, this is right where we were expecting, but it's way too small to be a planet, so that doesn't work. And then they kept looking in the area, and they found more and more asteroids. Pallas, Juno, Vesta. And eventually realized there were thousands or millions. And we call that the asteroid belt now.
Yeah.
The asteroid belt is the region where there would be the missing planet. So then comes Wilhelm Olbers, and he says, what if that is the planet?
Dun, dun, dun.
And the critics were like, no, you're stupid. That doesn't make any sense. And he said, what? I'm not stupid. And they're like, yeah, you are. Because there's not enough mass with these asteroids to be a planet, stupid. And he said, no, you're stupid. You didn't account for the fact that when a planet explodes, most of it's vaporized, and this is what's remaining.
So that kind of explains too the rings around Saturn. I mean, maybe Saturn picked up some of the fine particles, because I know the rings of Saturn is very thin, extremely thin, but it's very wide.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Saturn could have picked up some debris from the explosion. But then wouldn't other planets have too? I mean, if Saturn picked up stuff, I mean, wouldn't we have a ring around our planet if that was the case?
Well, not necessarily.
No.
It could have been that they just flung off of us or impacted us, and
Could have, yeah. Just a thought.
So now, basically, no one really looks into much of it. It's just something, and we get into the late 20th century, so not that long ago. And Tom Flandern has a PhD in astronomy, worked
Ed Flanders.
sort of, but Tom. He was in the Naval Observatory for 20 years and specialized in high precision orbital mechanics and was involved in predicting planetary positions. So he just knew planets.
Yeah.
And he came to conclusions from math to pinpoint what was really going on. So he was not a fan of the accretion of planets, which is one theory on how planets are made.
Okay.
Which is stuff gathers together and then
Gravity
pulls
collects
down and eventually...
Yeah. Gravity collects it together and the force of gravity.
Yeah, a bunch of high-speed stuff stays together and
Gotcha.
forms what?
Fuses everything together.
He's not a fan of that. Not to mention, according to that theory, there shouldn't be any what they call hot Jupiters, which are gas giants that are close to their stars. Basically, you would expect them to be further away because of how it works, how it's created. It would be further away, like Jupiter is. But we've observed many, 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 many gas giants near their star.
Like how near? Like Earth near? Venus near? Mercury?
Near, like Mercury, Venus.
That's wild.
Um,
How does the gas not rip off the...
So it doesn't, again, we can't, based on what NASA says is this is the definitive how things, which is stupid. You can't say how anything was definitive, even if they're pretty sure. Their theory, their ideas don't really line up the more the more knowledgeable you are. It's one of those things. It's like that curve where it's like you're really stupid, you
The
say
bell
these
curve.
things, and then you get in the middle with the normal educated, which would be the NASA, like people who say what NASA says, and then you learn too much, and you're like, no, that is
Yeah.
it's like that. So, and that's where Flander began to be. And so he says,
Towards the end of the bell curve, right? Or...
yeah, he's on the
Okay.
other side. I'm too educated to believe.
Yeah.
He says the young sun spun really fast, was really massive, bigger, more massive than it was now.
Like a red giant.
And it basically shed mass to shrink because otherwise it would have burned out too fast, or it would have died out because it was too big to hold itself. And that eventually these blobs that it shoots out become planets. And planets come out in pairs most of the time.
Okay. I'm not liking the theory.
Why?
It's just the sun is made up of just a few, from my understanding, because could be completely wrong, but just a few elements that are causing nuclear fission.
Now, because I got rid of the other stuff.
Okay.
Duh.
Okay.
It's like you want to be stupid.
Okay, so I'm on the right track. He's on the wrong track.
He's right.
Okay.
I wish I had it here, but it didn't put the planets, but because I can't remember the pairing, but it was like basically every planet kind of has another planet that's similar to it.
The answer.
Like Saturn and Jupiter, I know were one pair.
How does that song go? The hoorah, 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 hoorah.
Oh, hey, no, I do have the pairs. It's
Comes
a little further
out
down.
2 by 2. That's why I was thinking that.
Yeah. So, like Earth and Venus are a pair. Jupiter, Saturn are a pair. Uranus and Neptune are a pair. But Mars doesn't have a pair.
So the Earth isn't its pair?
No.
So Venus is our
Earth.
pair.
Yep.
So who is Mercury's pair?
Don't ask questions.
Okay.
This has no holes.
Okay.
Also, I'm probably doing a horrible job explaining it, so that doesn't help.
So,
But anyway,
Mercury,
I'm not doing a great job at it because
Pluto is Mercury's pair.
maybe.
Okay.
But there's enough there that Mars doesn't fit. Everything fits except
The
Mars.
math and everything. Yeah, I got you.
So people were like trying to figure it out, and they come up with the perfect theory.
Of course.
That math backs 100%. You cannot argue,
Obviously.
and that is the only solution is that Mars was the moon to planet Maldek.
Maldek.
And Mars had life and oceans.
And Maldek was what the asteroid field was?
Yes.
Okay.
And Maldek had life. And that the people on Maldek built robots that took over the world. And they had the war with the robots. And we're on Mars. And they discovered the way to win was to blow up the planet. And so
Wow.
So they blew up the planet, which launched Mars to where its orbit is.
Yeah, I remember this.
And then they got into nuclear war. and
Blew
basically
the planet
destroyed themselves with nuclear war.
And that's why they have no atmosphere.
And that's why everything is bad. And that the last few people alive made the face of Mars as a warning before they died.
Of course.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because that's the
That's-
logical conclusion. Because
That's what the math says.
that's
And that
what
this
the math
happened,
says.
and this was like millions of years ago.
right,
Millions of years ago.
right. So
However, the weird thing is that we just found their bones. So it's real. No, the weird thing is like, so obviously this is I'm pretty sure this was discovered and led to their thinking, but there are a few, or by few I mean two, locations that are heavy in xenon 129, which is an isotope that
happens
pretty
after
much
your nuclear
only
bomb.
appears after nuclear bombs. So
Yeah.
there's like two spots. So it's like some nuclear reaction of some sort happened here, most likely. And it can't be explained by just natural radiation from the sun, as far as like, oh, it's exposure, because if that were the case, it wouldn't be super highly
Super high.
concentrated in two
No.
spots. It would be spread out. But it very much is just exactly like it is here on Earth after an area has been nuked.
Yes. My question is, I watched a video a while ago that throughout the Earth's history that they have found evidence of naturally occurring
Nuclear explosions,
nuclear reactors.
naturally occurring, being nuked. Yeah, I've heard that, but they also mentioned that, and this is too big,
It's too concentrated for that.
too big to be that.
Too large.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, like it literally from what I read, and this is not just these guys. Is like the official data NASA talks about. Like the amount it is literally just as if a huge nuke, bigger than what we've used.
Mm.
in two different locations on the planet. I mean, there's no signs that there was a nuke that went off, but in terms of like damage, I guess.
The
But
fallout.
the amount of this isotope points toward that. But again, we don't really know.
Wow.
But the interesting stuff other than that is that this guy, outside of the alien stuff, is there's stuff that NASA's like, no, you're wrong, because they always are. Anytime you say something that goes against what they claim is how it works, they always say no. But this guy was like
NASA stands for never a straight
like-
answer.
like the guy was talking about that there were two oceans on Mars that met in the center, and basically said, and NASA's like, no, that's not true. He's like, it probably was based on what we can see. And he was like, and you'll find in the middle where they met, and this was years before NASA discovered, like basically a lot of stuff he said based on math or based on observation, a mix of both, that NASA argued with, like years later. NASA's like, oh yeah, here's signs of this, here's signs of this.
NASA,
So-
man.
So like the guy is on to something, but then the whole,
But he's not.
But the conclusion of it is just it's not there.
and also this is apparently a story from a comic book. So
So the guy came up. The guy is like, that makes sense.
and then the reason they're like, well, part of it also is someone in whatever the project is, I forget the name of the project, but the not astral projection, the what's it, the psychic, I can see a place.
I know exactly what you're talking
I
about.
can't think of what it's called. I had
I
it.
know exactly what you're talking about, and it is called. It is called.
I forget what it's called. I just had it earlier. Anyway, during that, there was a guy who they
Oh my
had
God.
brought in who was not into this, like his history was not this, but they pulled him in and got him into it. And so they gave him coordinates. All they gave him was coordinates.
Remote viewing.
Remote viewing, yes. They gave a guy remote viewing coordinates and didn't tell him where it was. And so he did, and basically he says he saw the explanation of this planet blowing up.
Oh my
And
God.
then they found out the coordinates that he got were to Mars, and apparently also a time period which was like 1,000,000 years ago. So like, see, he remote viewed.
Shut up. Get back to work.
So
up.
anyway, so yeah, Mars was
I
moon.
think that's pretty tinfoil, dude.
I think
Yeah.
I'm only interested because they're of the actual real stuff.
Yeah, I mean the math and stuff, everything works out. That there
Oh.
should be a planet there, but there's not.
Yeah, I wonder.
It completely makes sense about the planet exploding, and
Yeah.
now that's why we have the asteroid belt.
Yes,
100%.
yes.
I'm behind that. No
That's the
problem
part-
against it.
That's the part that I'm like, that's interesting. The other
Yeah.
stuff is like, okay.
Yeah, everything
Okay.
else, you lost me at.
Yeah.
The robot
else.
armies a million years ago. Star
Yeah.
Wars. It was Star Wars.
100%. Clones versus droids, man.
You lost the plot.
Sounds pretty tinfoil.